An entitled Karen comes to our dairy farm demanding to buy one of our calves, claiming that it's too expensive to buy the milk that we were selling and that she would just rather raise a cow herself just so she could get free milk. And when she explained this to me, I was blown away by her stupidity and her level of entitlement. Here's what happened. So for a little bit of background, my grandma works on a medium-sized dairy farm as a kind of manager of sorts, and I help her out from time to time. We have a thing called milk filling station, and it's basically a vending machine where you can buy fresh milk from us, and it's €1 per liter. We're located on a hill a little outside a small village and surrounded by meadows and the forest, so we do get some hikers or families on a nice walk from time to time, especially on the weekends, and they usually look at our cows and buy some milk. One shift here usually includes 4 people. Everyone has different jobs to do, so most of the time you're just alone doing your task, and my job is essential for the milking process, as it includes bringing the cows to the milking station and then back to their herds. So as I've mentioned, I'm alone most of the time, just doing my thing and getting it done, running around inside the farm. It is a restricted area. We have signs up since it can be quite dangerous, but the gates are open to make work a little bit easier and for ventilation, so theoretically everyone could walk in. Still, I was kind of surprised when I, in the midst of literally shoveling cow waste, were met with a rather annoying sound behind me. It was a sound of somebody clearing their throat to try and get my attention. I turned around, shovel still in hand, and I saw a woman maybe in her 30s standing there right before me, she being way too overdressed to be seen anywhere near a farm. She also didn't look like she was on a casual walk with her family, or at least I wouldn't do one in high heels like she was wearing. She was looking at me rather angrily, and I immediately knew that this was probably the day I'd been waiting for, although I never expected it to be here of all places, that I would meet an entitled Karen. Before I could even so much as open my mouth, she already started speaking in a very condescending tone towards me. She said, "Finally, I've been looking for someone to help me for ages. Why are none of you doing your job and being there when you're needed?" Now, I was instantly annoyed with this woman, because how dare she come in here and talk to me like that? And also, what job was she referring to? Because I, for one, was doing mine right at this moment, and it was strictly timed. I had to get stuff done with zero time to listen to this weird entitled Karen. But even still, I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt and be nice. So I said to her, "Oh, sorry, if you're referring to the office in the front, there usually is no one there since we're all in here doing our job. What seems to be the problem? Maybe I can help." I thought maybe she had a flat tire or something like that and she just needed help, because I legitimately had no idea what someone dressed like her could possibly want on a dairy farm. But boy was I wrong when she began to act in a way that honestly blew my mind and seriously left me stunned at her entitlement. She looked at me and said, "Unbelievable. You should be over there at the front desk in case anyone needs your help like I do. Anyways, your milk is too expensive." I respond to her by saying, "I'm sorry, what are you talking about?" She said to me, "I said your milk is too expensive. I want a better price." And she was saying this in such a manner that was honestly really insulting. I slowly started to connect the dots and I said to her, "Oh, are you talking about the vending machine out front? I'm sorry, but that's a fixed price." And before I could go any further of giving my opinion on the matter, she cut me off and said, "I didn't ask for your opinion. It's way cheaper at the supermarket, but my daughter wanted to try fresh milk, so we drove all the way over here. You should match the price of the supermarkets or you won't sell much." I responded by saying, "Ma'am, we are not a supermarket. We're selling the leftover fresh milk so it doesn't go to waste." And apparently this was the wrong thing to say because she freaks out on me over this. She says, "What? That's leftover milk? That is disgusting. And to think my daughter could have drank that." Now, for clarification, when I say leftover milk, I meant that it was fresh milk, as in barely out of the cow fresh, and that we weren't able to sell it to the company which collects our milk, because they have fixed numbers, and if we produce more milk than those numbers, we would have to throw it away. But with the vending machine, at least some of it gets sold. If you want fresher milk than that, you would have to milk the cow yourself right into the bottle. I started to try and explain this to this entitled Karen, but she immediately cut me off again, which is honestly no surprise. She says, "No, no, no. This is unacceptable. Neither me nor my child will drink old milk." And then the dreaded sentence came out of her mouth that I honestly was not looking forward to. She said to me, "I want to speak to your manager." Now, at this point, I had already had enough of this garbage. And as I've already said, I have a very strictly timed job that I need to get back to, because we were in the middle of milking our cows, and this lady was literally holding up the process by holding me back. So I was more than happy to agree and get her my manager, which was my grandma, just to get her out of my hair. I just motioned for her to follow me and speed walked in the direction of the front office, while the lady was trying to keep up in her high heels without breaking her ankles. Now, our office is in kind of another building, and the door closest to us was locked, so we had to walk around the building, across the parking lot for the workers, and through another entrance that happened to be right beside the boxes that we keep the newborn calves in. This was also the place where I met the daughter of this entitled Karen. The girl was maybe 10 years old and happily watching the calves and petting them when we came into view. As soon as she saw her mom, she ran up to her and started excitedly jumping up and down. She said to her mom, Mom, look at the cute calves." She dragged her mom over to the boxes. "Look, it's so cute. I named her Emma. Can we keep her, please?" At this point, I expected the entitled Karen to maybe say something along the lines of, "Well, a cow is not a pet," or "We don't have the space," or even maybe, "Oh, I don't know how to take care of a cow." Something along those lines. But boy, was I wrong. Instead, the mom turns to me and asks me a question that I honestly never expected. She says to me, "So how much are these?" pointing to the calf in the box. Now, although we do sell our male calves, since they are of no use to us as a dairy farm, I for one wasn't sure exactly how much this cow was worth. And I'm pretty sure that there was a registration process involved in owning a cow in any way, shape, or form, as well as just getting authorization to sell the calf in the first place. And on top of that, cows aren't exactly animals you can just put in your yard and be done with it. There's a lot more to it. As I began to try and explain it to this entitled Karen, once again, as she's done before, she cut me off. She said to me, "No, I asked how much it is. Tell me." So I responded by saying, "Ma'am, that's a cow, not a pet." But this entitled Karen was not getting it, especially when she said, "I know, but your milk is way too expensive anyways. Just sell me one of those if my daughter wants it, and we will have our own milk, and it will be really fresh milk." At this point, I strongly considered just walking away, because there was no way this woman could be serious. She seriously wanted to buy an animal that would grow incredibly big and incredibly strong, and it would be strong enough to unalive you if you handled them wrong. Not only that, but also a cow of a breed that needs to be milked twice a day, because it produces as much milk as possible, which is around 30 to 50 liters at our farm. This entitled Karen seriously wants all that because €1 per liter for fresh milk apparently is too much, and her spoiled daughter thought our calves were cute. I mean, they are, but that's besides the point. Plus, you need to properly take care of them, feed them right, and just getting a calf won't give you instant milk. She has to grow up, get pregnant, give birth, and so much more. All around, this entitled Karen would have to wait another 24 to 28 months until her calf starts giving milk, and then repeat the process every year. So she would have new calves to take care of every year just to keep her one cow running, so to speak. Instead of telling her directly how stupid she was and how time-consuming and money-consuming this idea is, I decided to try and take a diplomatic approach. I said to her, "Ma'am, I understand, but it's not that easy. I'm afraid I'm not able to do this at this time." And she said to me, "Then get me someone who can. I want to speak to your manager anyways. Why do you have to be such an incompetent worker? How old are you? What, 15? Children shouldn't talk back to adults." And that's where I've had it. And so I just blurted out the best thing I could think of at the time. I look at her and I say, "Ma'am, I am an adult, and you should stop talking to me like that. I am not obligated to help you in any kind of way, and in fact, we could sue you for trespassing on private property." This then set off this entitled Karen in a serious way. She screams at me and says, "How dare you threaten me? Young lady, that is no way to talk to a person older than you. Learn some respect. I demand to speak to your manager. I will get you fired for this." As if she was called, my grandma stepped out of the building right at that moment, probably because she heard the commotion. My grandma steps in and asks what's going on here. The entitled Karen says, "Oh good, are you the manager of this place?" My grandma, keeping it professional, says, "Yes, how can I help you?" This entitled Karen then says, "This worker of yours was incredibly rude. She threatened me and my daughter and refused to help us. She even tried to assault me right before you came outside. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been here on time." This entitled Karen was then trying to squeeze out some fake tears at this point, quickly swiping them away with her finger before they could ruin her very thick layer of makeup. The entitled Karen continued. She said, "All we wanted was to ask if we could get the milk you are selling a little bit cheaper, and my daughter really likes this calf over there, so we thought about buying it as well." Now, my grandma was just silently listening to this woman's story, arms crossed and eyebrows raised, because she could smell the BS from 3 miles away. My grandma responded by saying, "Ma'am, this is my granddaughter you're talking about, and I know for a fact that she wouldn't do any of that." And right about then, the entitled Karen went incredibly quiet. My grandma said, "So, about the milk, I maybe would have helped you out if you hadn't just lied to my face, but now I kindly ask that you just pay the full price as everyone else does. And as for the calf, I'm afraid I won't be able to sell it to you." This entitled Karen then freaks out. She looks at us and says, "This is outrageous. I'm a paying customer. I would pay for this calf. Why are you refusing me? My daughter wants a cow, and she likes this one right here." The spoiled child then chimes in and says, "Yeah, her name is Emma." My grandma then said, "Ma'am, that won't give you a cow. It will give you a bull. It's a male calf." But the entitled Karen was not believing her. She looked at my grandma and said, "You're lying. You just don't want to sell it because it's pretty." So my grandma just silently pointed to the big symbol on the side of the box that clearly indicated that this was a boy cow. At this point, the entitled Karen started huffing about, saying under her breath how stupid and uneducated people like us were from the countryside, and how she would never come back here ever again, which I would also really appreciate. The entitled Karen's kid was whining loudly about her Emma, while her mom was dragging her back to the very expensive looking car. And as my grandma and I watched them drive away, we both had a good laugh about how entitled this crazy lady was, as well as her ridiculous attitude and demeanor. That entitled Karen is literally the definition of someone who's trying to explain something to someone that the other person is an expert in. She literally had no idea what she was talking about. What was she thinking? Did she really think that they would sell her this calf and say, "Okay, off you go," and she was just gonna stuff it in the back of her car and be like, "All right, we have a cow now"? Because I'm pretty sure that's not how that's gonna work in the slightest. She's gonna get home and not know what to do with this cow for a second. And it's only gonna get worse when that cow grows up and she realizes it's a male cow. It will never give her milk. I mean, her argument was just so stupid as well. She was giving this poor worker a big fuss over nothing. But it was really cool to see this grandma put her in her place. And she did it in such a way that was really professional while also being absolutely brutal. So hopefully, for the sake of the original poster and their grandma, this entitled Karen never comes back to their farm ever again. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. An entitled boss cost the company $2.5 million after she forced out one of the key members of our organization simply because she thought that they didn't do anything for work. And as a result, she ended up getting fired, while the person that she pushed out happily is enjoying his retirement. Here's what happened. So I have a friend by the name of Ted, who 6 or 7 years ago was 64 years old and considering retirement. Ted worked in health analytics for a large metro health organization. He would look at patient data and see ways to improve patient outcomes and gain funding. Each month, he would email to the relevant department heads data and links for government grants or funding applications. 12 months prior to this, Ted got a new boss by the name of Sally, who truly did not appreciate what Ted did on a daily basis. Sally pretty much ignored Ted, except for giving him the instruction that all data and reports had to go to her and no one else. She would deal with it specifically. The organization declares a restructuring with lots of job losses, and they are extremely determined to get this through. Ted is to be redundant. In a meeting, Sally tells Ted his work is useless and he is of no use to the organization. She says that she hasn't opened one of his email reports in 12 months, and that clearly shows that he doesn't matter to the organization. In 3 months, he will be redundant and receive a handsome package of over a year's pay. Sally was pretty rude to Ted, and HR asked her to leave, so it was decided that Sally will no longer deal with Ted. The union was putting up a decent fight, as well as slowing down the inevitable restructuring. Ted makes the offer to HR that he will not fight the redundancy if they pay him 3 months sick leave, and then after that his redundancy. They agree, but insist that he does a full data clean for patient confidentiality reasons in the next 2 days, and then his sick leave starts. So this is when his malicious compliance begins. Ted backs up a copy of everything and then calls up IT, who deletes every file. He also physically destroyed his hard drive. He also asked them to search through any unopened emails that he had sent and delete them off the server. IT wiped every last trace of Ted from the system. Ted gave the copy of his data to the internal auditors on his last day. On Ted's last day, he also discovered that Sally didn't know he was going on sick leave the next day. She calls him up with her sweetest pie voice saying, "Hey Ted, I need to look at those numbers you sent me as I can't find them. The auditors say we are 2.2 million short of funding this year and you might be able to help out." Ted replies, "Sure, but ring me tomorrow." But tomorrow never came because Ted leaves and happily retires. Sally Sally then apparently could not find Ted's data for the life of her, and this happened for several weeks. Ted ignored her calls as he was on sick leave, and the internal auditors investigated and found that Sally had cost the organization over $2.5 million in spending. And this happened at the same time when other departments came forward and complained about Ted's redundancy. Someone forwarded Ted an email a couple months later from the CEO, basically stating that after a brief conversation with Sally, she has decided to look for other opportunities, which in the end we all know secretly means that she was gonna be fired, so she left of her own accord. And I honestly can't think of a better person for this to happen to than this entitled boss by the name of Sally. This boss is a complete moron. I mean, you cost this company millions of dollars, all because you had this weird vendetta against Ted for some reason. I bet she learned pretty quickly that, yeah, I should have not only opened my emails, but I also probably should have treated him with more respect and just let him do his job. Because of this boss, not only is she out of a job, but she also guaranteed that Ted's gonna have a fantastic retirement. So hopefully wherever Sally decides to work at next, she actually listens to the people in front of her and avoids any kind of mess like the one she caused at her previous company. An entitled dad lets their kid go to the bathroom in a bag in the middle of our store. And all this simply because he didn't ask where the bathroom was, while also playing ignorance as to what he did wrong. And I've honestly never been more disgusted with anything in my life. Here's what happened. So for a bit of backstory and some context, I work in a discount retailer as a manager. So it was a Saturday morning and it was a very busy day. All the colleagues are on the tills and I'm on break. All of a sudden, the guard walks into the canteen and says that a customer complained that there is a girl going to the bathroom while his dad is holding the bag in the middle of the store. Now, when I heard this, as you could probably guess, I got very confused and I asked him to repeat what he just said to me. There is no way that could be a real situation. And then I asked him to kick them out as they were out of line, but he refused to do that, which is another issue with this store. Our guards were useless. They were just there for show. We both walk up to the section and he points at the dad and the two kids. Luckily, the bag was already hidden away in their cart. So I approach them while the guard just stands there doing nothing. I say to them, so a customer in our guard has seen your kid going to the bathroom in a bag. So I'm gonna need you to get up and leave our store. This guy actually said to me, wait, why? What did I do wrong? I looked at him and I said, do you seriously not see anything wrong with taking a number 2 in the middle of our store? It's unhygienic, it's disgusting, and it's just wrong. We have operational toilets that you could have easily taken your kid to if you had simply asked us to take you to them, without putting us in this kind of situation. After I explained to him that what he did is wrong, he finally understood that he wouldn't be allowed to continue shopping. So I led him and his kids out the door. An elderly customer then approached me afterwards, saying that she has never seen anything like this in her life and is glad that someone dealt with it so swiftly. I thanked the lady for the compliment and thought the situation is behind us, and that I would never have to deal with anything like that ever again. But boy was I wrong, because today I walk in for my shift and my manager pulls me aside and says that the bagman complained to the head office, but twisted the story in his own way. He was saying that he was kicked out without a valid reason and that he did nothing wrong because there was no available toilets and the staff supposedly refused to help him out, which is honestly just a complete lie and seriously a massive fabrication. So he claimed that he did what any good dad would do in that situation. He also demanded that I should be reprimanded, that I embarrassed him in the first place and kicked him out in the way that I did. Now, when me and the manager heard this, we both had a fantastic laugh about it. I wrote a statement and gave timestamps to our CCTV, and we just left it at that. But the story of the man who let his kid go to the bathroom in the bag will honestly carry me on forever now, because that is something that doesn't happen every day, but when it does happen, you better believe you're never gonna forget it. What an awful situation to be stuck in. Imagine this, you're going to work, it's a 9-to-5 job, and you're probably not getting paid well in the first place. And I bet you have to deal with angry customers every single day. It's always someone complaining about something or having some kind of attitude about something going on in the store. It's relatively speaking an unhappy job, even though there might be perks associated with it, or you might enjoy your coworkers. But then out of all the things that could have happened in your store, this is the thing that pops up as the thing that happens. This is the singular event that you're gonna remember probably for the rest of your life. And if I caught someone in the act of doing that in a store I worked in, you better believe I would be shouting this story from the rooftops. I can't honestly think of any rational adult looking at their kid, taking out a plastic bag in the middle of a store and saying, okay, time to go to the bathroom. Like, that is something that's just completely unheard of. And I seriously just just can't believe that this dad did that to that kid. I mean, how traumatizing. And it's ironic that he tries to frame himself as this good father, when in reality, he was most likely just incredibly lazy, and he didn't want to try and find a toilet for his kid. So he forced his kid to go to the bathroom in a bag in the middle of the store. It's all honestly mind-blowing to me, and this awful father absolutely deserved to get kicked out of this store. There is literally no good excuse for his behavior, and honestly, he deserves to get banned from that store permanently. And I bet it's one of those stores where the bathrooms are clearly marked. Like, you know the bathrooms are over there, it's right over in the corner, you just had to go there. Or if anything, you could have asked one of the employees and said, hey, where's the bathroom? And then it literally would have been solved from there. So hopefully, for the sake of the original poster, they never have to deal with anything like this ever again. Because quite literally, this is absolutely awful, as well as absolutely disgusting. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out in the description below and subscribe.